Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to make modifications to this 05 CRF450 frame to accept this 1987 CR500 engine. Over here we've got all the components from CP500 for the frame modification. The project ended up taking a couple extra months because the bushings in the back of the 87 engine are only 14 or 15 millimeters clearance, and we needed 17. We tried boring them out, had a lot of trouble. Then I found this set from Miller Race Engineering up in Canada, and those will go right in and be exactly what I need. We've also got this MSV exhaust flange. This will get rid of the stock flange. It's a gasket style. It has O-ring against the cylinder and 3 O-rings where the pipe get onto it. That way we don't get the black buildup coming out the front of the engine. This is supposed to increase horsepower too. I mainly bought it just for the cleanliness of it, and we'll pop that on as well. We're going to change the spacers in the swing arm to accept this engine, as well as test fit the pipe and silencer. We've got a Pro Circuit Platinum pipe. So let's start by stripping the seat, plastics, gas tank, air box, and the radiators. I'm going to start by cutting off the lower mounts. When we cut the tabs that protrude upward, leaving the base that is welded to the lower tube rails intact. The base of the engine mount is curved, so it's easiest to cut halfway from each side. You can clean up the cuts with a sanding wheel later. Now the instructions say to cut just below the lower welds here to leave as much of the lowers as possible. You can see that these are at an angle, so kind of not sure exactly what I'm supposed to do. Obviously these inserts are going to be a problem. They are also steel. I'm thinking it needs to go beneath that. I'm probably going to cut them right in half so I can get them out and then reevaluate and cut a little bit more off. I think it's going to have to go down there, but if it doesn't and I just need to knock those out and we'll fill that with weld, I want to play this on the safe side, not take off too much material. Also up here we're supposed to cut just above this weld, but then there's more trimming that goes on later, really on both sides. So you can see this guy would fit about there. This comes way down, so I think we're definitely past that, but I just want to be 100% sure. You can only cut it once. Well, you can only cut it shorter. You can't cut it longer. Now for this, I'm just going to use a cutoff wheel because we're not going to be welding there anyhow. We're going to weld a little bit lower than that, so not really too worried about the grinding dust. We got it. So now it says we take it off just above that weld. Looks like I was a little low on that mark. We can fix that. There we go. All right, let's cut this guy out too. Okay, looks like we got that one a hair higher than this one. Here's our old piece. It's warm. Now we're supposed to remove the remaining pieces here by grinding, cutting these welds, prying on them, and get those off so this is a nice smooth surface. pop these bushings in this motor quick here so we can set the engine in and do our final cuts. Ooh, she's a tight fit. I think it's pretty apparent that these guys are going to be in the way, or at least this one right here. So I'm going to cut that off now. Alright, so I went ahead and pulled the swing arm off to get it out of my way. And to do that, I just pulled the top shock mount and bolted the rear master cylinder right there, and then down here, and bolted this bolt on the linkage to pull it out instead of the side. I'm going to start on this side. Do the long bushing. I'm going to go ahead and pull this exhaust flange off. I think that'll help. Give us a little more clearance to play with here. Right in here you can see we're making contact with the frame, and we need to bring this down. Now we need to keep in mind that the motor is going to pivot down and back. So what I'm going to do is estimate the angle that will do that and mark that like that. So I'm going to cut a little divot out of here so that motor will go down. Tank's also going to be an issue. Tank's going to want to make contact with this spark plug. I read something about you got to cave it in. It's certainly tight. I test fit it. No go on that. Once I cut this out, I'm wondering if I'm going to make contact right here. I think I might. I might have to shorten that up just to get the angle right. Okay, so we'll pull this motor back out now to cut that relief in the bottom of the frame. Alright, I'll pop back in and see how that works. Definitely move the top quite a bit. We are down in there. So now just the top is actually holding us. So at this point, I can't get the head stay to line up. I'm not sure exactly which way this goes, if it gets flipped over or not. And obviously we're still hitting right here. So I'm gonna mark that, and I'm gonna notch this out so I can have the clearance to raise and lower this and figure this head stay out. Once the head stay is lined up with the bolt holes here, I'll clamp that in place and we'll start modifying the frame down here for the correct cuts there and up there. I know when this is done, we're going to be cut slightly at an angle here, and I need this for clearance at the moment to help me get the position of the engine right. So what I'm going to do is just draw a line like that, and I'm going to cut that out. Okay, now we're touching down here in the back, but we'll check this top head stay. See if we can't get that to fit now, which may raise it up a little bit. Okay, so now what I've done here is you set this guy on there, bring your bolt out, and then measure, while this is lined up with the tube, how much further you need to go down. And we're about 3/4 of an inch. So what I did, it's the same on both sides, so I did it over there as well. So I took my calipers, I set it at 3/4 of an inch, and I scribed right across that and drew a line on the other side, brought it around the front, and drew lines there. Now I'm going to pull the engine back out. I'll put the lines on the back of it as well, and I'll cut these off. While the engine is out, I'm going to cut that divot out a little bit more on the other side. Could use a little bit more out in the back like I marked earlier. So I'll take care of that. Now before I did this, I clamped the top and everything's bolted down up here, so the engine is sitting where it is supposed to right now. Hey, I just want to jump in quick here. If you guys are enjoying this, make sure to subscribe. It makes my day every time I see that number go up. Thanks. All right, so we're going to drop the motor back in. Make sure that our bolt holes actually line up with that thing now. Then worry about cutting this and bringing these rails in. Now, let's hope our bolt lines up. It doesn't. Alright, so I think what actually needs to happen is I need to take just a little bit out of it, like that, on both sides. Put the motor in, take the motor out, put the motor in, and you shake it a little up. It is so close. On the other side.
Nope.
Just a little more. All right, now let's put the motor back in.
Now that the engine mounts are lining up, I'll mark the top of the wishbone against the frame.
Okay, so now we mark the top here. We need to come down 5/8 of an inch, I believe. Yep, we need to mark 5/8 of an inch down and cut there. Need to mark the back side too, but I think you need to take the motor out for that. theoretically, this should fit now after we jack this thing up. It looks like it just might. Now, however, we still need to get these to fit. The manual says heat it up, pull them in. Problem is, I'm concerned with which way they need to go. It almost looks like they both need to come in. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to jack it up, try to get it in there, and try to squeeze these together to get everything to fit. And then I'll heat it afterwards to de-stress the metal. Just to make sure that looks right. It is about 3/4 of an inch. And wood cracking sounds just like aluminum cracking, or aluminum cracking sounds just like wood cracking. Alright, now we get to find out if the motor still fits. I'm going to pull this motor out once more and take a little bit more off of that real quick. So down here on this bottom you can see that I can tilt that far enough so it's past that. But this side not so much. So what I'm going to do here is I kind of angled that one. I didn't do that to this. And that one looks like it's sitting a hair higher than this one. I'm going to take them both down just a hair, redo that angle on both of them, and then take this down a little bit further to the end of that black line. And the other thing you'll notice here, if you can see it, is these are all curved in at the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and give that a little bit of a relief right there as well, all the way around. That's what we're looking for. I'm going to go ahead and heat these aluminum tubes up again in hopes that they don't spread back out when I take that off. So it does still feel a little bit tight. I'm not going to worry about that too much. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. I think this will be okay though. So I'm gonna drop this motor back in, see how we're doing, if we're lined up at this point yet or not. Alright, now we've got all the clearance that we need. Really comes down to cutting these guys down now so that they will fit. I've test fit the pipe. That seems to fit all right. We do have some fitment issues up here at the silencer, but I kind of expected that. Not going to worry about that right now. Still need to cut those brackets. Need to cut these brackets to fit that. I believe I'm going to go that direction with them so I can get more on the pad, a little bit down there. So I need to mark those up right now, cut those down, and see what we end up with. I'm going to scratch the mount from the other side. Now, I figure that's going to be a little bit high, so I'm going to cut a little bit lower than that, test fit, do it again, and we'll do this side. Don't know if you can see it. I'm going to scratch line right there. The idea here is going to be to cut and leave this black line. I'm just going to clean this up a hair. Probably very hot. Alright, so I can see right away. I'm going to have to bring this back a little bit, which I expected. I drew a little extra in there because I didn't want to go too far. A little higher right here. Looks like I still need to pull that back a little bit more. Really close, I'm going to take a little bit out of the inside, just the inside of that, because the weld on the bottom kind of goes at an angle. A little bit more, same spot. Looks like a winner. Now we can see if this fits the other side too. And if it does, we can just match it. Of course it won't, because we flipped it around. So no, we cannot do that. It does look like it's pretty much going to be a mirror though. So it'll be cut the same as this, but that little 45, probably not quite 45, it's going to be going the other direction. Alright, so I did the same process on this side, just scratched this thing and started grinding until I could slide her down in place. Ready for welding. That's all for this video. Make sure to subscribe down at the bottom of this, watch the playlist for this video, or check out another video. Thanks for watching.